Okay, I wanted to introduce a little bit of fresco. We're going to do the project where we use the photo of an animal and we try to make it look kind of like a Dean Rousseau inspired piece of art. So the first thing you want to do when you look at fresco is you're not going to really click create new. I like to start with current screen size. The reason why is it just kind of helps with the saving it in the right format so it doesn't eat up your memory. So I'm going to click current screen size. And then if you look on this side, you have all the tools. And then on this side is like the layers. And so one of the things about fresco is it's very similar to Photoshop. Everything's in a layer. And there are benefits to that, which I'm going to show you through this tutorial. We're going to pull in a photo. I went ahead and saved a photo in my camera roll, and it's going to be this lizard. Now I have to adjust the size of the lizard. So I'm going to make it the full screen size. You're going to stretch it until you like it, and then you're going to hit done. Now, in order to cut out the eyes, I could use the eraser tool, and I could get rid of the eyes if I wanted to that way, but I wanted to show you another way to do it. And if your highlight is on the actual lizard, you're gonna hit the three little dots, and you're gonna click on Create Empty Mask. Now, when you look here, there is the image, and this is a mask. So what it does is it's kind of like got a transparent layer over the photo, which is protecting the integrity of the photo. So when you erase something, you're taking it away forever. But with a mask, you are taking it away, but you can easily manipulate it and bring things back. All right, now at the bottom of the mask, it says reveal layer or hide layer. So we are gonna erase away essentially with the mask. What I wanna do first is I wanna look at the size. I can work with this type of size, but it's a little transparent. So when you're gonna wanna change the mode of that tool. I'm gonna do basic hard round. Make it a little bigger so it's solid, and then make sure that it's all the way up so it looks like a cutout. Do y'all see that? Now I'm gonna kind of go ahead and cover up the whole thing in red. Whatever is in red is what I'm gonna hide. It's kind of like erasing it away. So you're gonna use a larger size tool for this. And then as I get closer to the eyes, I'm gonna refine my tool to make it smaller so I can take away less. It's okay if you accidentally cover up the eye because I'm gonna show you how to fix that too. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to reveal. I'm gonna change the size of this. So I accidentally cut some of the eye away. So I'm gonna slowly bring that back. And you may want to do some of the lid, bring the lid back. You could also do like a paint bucket, I guess, and cover it up and then bring the eyes back. But there's a lot of ways to approach that. And that's the one thing about Fresco and Adobe is you may see me do it one way, but I'm not an expert. This is like self-taught for me. So you may want to... you may have another way that you do it, and that's fine, and it may work just as well. All right, so now I'm gonna have to refine that a little bit more. So I'm gonna go back to hide layer again. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit more detail, and I'm really gonna try to get right up around those eyes. Okay. Oh, that was time consuming, and I could have done it on time lapse, but. All right, now I'm done with this mask. So what I wanna do now is I'm gonna click on another layer and start. Now notice that it's just the realistic eyes. I'm gonna actually import the photo again into this layer, but this time I'm gonna use it as a tool. I am not going to, I'm gonna line up his eyes and make sure it's about the same size though. I'm gonna use this photo as a tool, but eventually I'm going to get rid of it. So it needs to be a little bigger. All right, that's pretty close. And I'm gonna, done. Now on the right side, this setting, you can make that an opaque layer. So we're gonna use this layer as a tool and we're gonna trace around the actual lizard with a black. But I'm gonna make it a little bit more, less, you know, I don't want the, I'm gonna make it a little bit more transparent. And when you touch this little icon again, it kind of hides away. All right, so we're gonna draw. If I move this layer right here and I go right on top, this layer is still there, but if you click this eyeball, oh wait, hold on. If you click this layer and you click the eyeball, you're hiding the picture. So after we draw on top of this picture, you're gonna hide it. So I'm gonna make sure the blue is on this layer right here. I'm gonna pick my drawing tool. I like to use a kind of a tapered line. And I think that sometimes you can use like the marker tool. I like the marker tool a lot too when I'm starting out. You're gonna check the size. You don't wanna be too big. You're gonna check the smoothing. You may wanna make it, you know, a little different. Now when you draw, you can see how when I draw my lines, depending on the pressure, depends on how the line works. And when the line is faded at the end, that's kind of what you want when you're drawing something like this. All right, so what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start outlining this lizard. Okay, so when you touch that layer and hide it, you can see the drawing, what it looks like. What you might wanna do after you get the basic part drawn, you may want to change the size of your tool. Maybe you have some areas that need a little bit less bold of a line, and you can kind of maybe add some of the textures and patterns that you like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hide this picture. And okay, so let's review the layers of the that are in order. Okay, so we really want to be looking at the part that we cut out. That's the eyes, so that's going to be on top. The next one is the drawing, okay? Now we're going to create a new layer. And whenever you create a new layer, I would not do your drawing and your coloring on the same layer, because if you mess up, it's easier to change a layer than it is if it's all on the same layer. So you're going to go over here to the 3 dots and you're going to add a layer. And you want to, you know, how it's in order is really how you're going to perceive that. So I would actually move this black outline drawing. Oh, no, didn't want to do that. I would move this below the drawing. So when you do the color, you're still going to see the black outline. If they were swapped, the color would go on top of the black. So make sure that you have your photo of your eyes, then your black outline, and then this is the layer that we're going to start with the colors. Now, if you've had a chance to explore the different materials and brushes, it's kind of fun to see all the different tools. I encourage you to play around with some of the patterns that you can create with the tools. The watercolor is really nice because you can get some soft edges. Let me show you the splatter brush. Let's just say I'm going to do some fun green, okay? Because this is a, you know, it's a, oh, didn't keep it. We're going to do the green. We're going to look at the size, the flow. So you're going to go ahead and you can like, see how it's moving like an actual watercolor? So you can add like the streaks of the splatter in there if you want. Let's go to the pixel brushes. If you look in the FX, there's tons of textures. So when you start applying the patterns, then you have that, you know, you have access to doing all those really cool textures. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna just get a base color painted. And I'm gonna pick the watercolor brush. So there's 3 different types of brushes. So you kind of have to play around and figure out which one you want. I'm gonna do a wash, make sure the size, I think I might make it a little smaller. So I'm just gonna do a little bit here on the legs. I'm gonna just put a base coat where I want all those colors. See how the color is behind the black? It's because of the location I put. All right. Let's change the color to maybe a yellow. Can put some yellow. With the watercolor, it blends into this green. So that's kind of nice too, to have it look actual like paint. Now mine may be a little too realistic. Let's, throw something else in there. Now red and green make brown, so be careful. Let's put some of the red on this tongue and the mouth. All right. I may change this not to watercolor. Let's maybe do the oil paint now. This is like the mix. It can mix on its own. So you can see it's a little different texture than the watercolor. All right, now that I have this base all done, I'm gonna create a new layer. Now I'm gonna do all the textures, okay? So we want it to be that graffiti type style. I encourage you to go to the FX brushes and play around with what you see here. Let's go back to this like brush right here. It almost looks like scales and texture. We want it to be smaller. I don't need it to be that big. It's way too big. Seems huge, doesn't it? Let's see, we'll try it. I like that, that's a good size. So I wouldn't do the same thing all over, but I would maybe repeat it 3 times. Anytime you repeat things in 3s, it's a good way to create unity in the artwork. So even though there's gonna be lots of patterns and lots of things going on, I would try to repeat whatever you do a couple times. Maybe change the color. Maybe you wanna do this again, but maybe make it white. And you could change the size. So maybe we'll do that same right here on his face. All right, so just keep playing around with the brushes and experimenting. If you don't like that layer, let's say you don't want to see it for a minute. You turn off that light, the eyeball, so you can't even see it. And the wonderful thing about fresco is you can try something different and then put it on a new layer, try a whole nother approach, and you could even, delete that at the end if you decide it's really not what you like. So that's one of the things I like about this program, is that I can really take the time and explore, experiment, and I don't feel like I'm ruining the whole thing, where on paper, it's hard to do that. So enjoy the process of creating your Dean Russo project in fresco.